Thank you to everybody who's joining us today. My name is Jean Jones. I'm the Director of Marketing for the Howard Company. And today we're excited to be joined by our partners at Menu Technologies. And we're going to be discussing the title is quite long, Integrated Restaurant Ecosystems as an Engine to Accelerate Sales Growth. That's quite a mouthful, and I think you're going to get a lot out of this conversation. Let me introduce our panelists today, starting with our team from the Howard Company. Rod, introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, my name is Rod Clouser, National Sales Manager for the Howard Company. Been here with the Howard Company for, 8 or 9 years now. So longevity with the company is here, so we can help you out with anything you need.
And Laura Paff.
Yep, that's what I am, Laura Paff. I'm the Inside Sales Manager, East Coast here, and I've been here just about 2 years.
Okay, and Carolina.
Hi everyone, my name is Carolina Scaltritti and I work for Menu Technologies. I've been with the company for over 4 years and I'm responsible for key accounts.
Okay, and Karl.
Good morning, I'm Karl. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of Menu. The other one is my son, and we're excited to be here today.
Very well. Then I guess we will get started. Carolina has a presentation that they're going to go over with us to help us start to understand exactly what the title of this webinar means. So I'll let you take it away, Carolina.
Thank you, Jean. Super. So before we move to the interactive section of this webinar, I'll just start by showing you a few slides and introducing the topic. As Jean said, it's quite a long title, so we want to make sure that you understand the principles of what an integrated restaurant ecosystem is about. So just by showing you a little bit the evolution in the industry, as you know, the restaurants started with very fragmented systems. So in the past, restaurants typically just had a POS system. So it was a single channel type of setup. And then it evolved to a multi-channel setup. So restaurants typically added maybe a web application, a kiosk application, and the systems were basically connected. But where restaurants really want to be is here. So this is, oops. So this is the omni-channel sphere. What does this mean? It actually means that you have ownership of the data because everything is interconnected and you're the one actually having that relationship with your clients. So not only you have data ownership, but you also ensure that there is data accuracy. So instead of having different backend systems where you manage all the data from, you actually end up having one single backend system, and you basically enable also the tool to collect a lot of data from your clients, which can in turn be used for personalized marketing campaigns. So as you see here from a return on investment perspective, Omnichannel is the one that enables you to have a higher return on investment. So what are some of the other benefits of a digital landscape? Besides from the things that I mentioned to you right now, I'd like to present to you a few figures from some recent studies that have been conducted. These ones here are from Deloitte and Forbes. So the first point is that up to 70% of your guests prefer to order online. So offering a digital solution actually enables you to meet the demand of your clients. Second point is that when you do offer a digital solution, your clients end up spending more. So the average ticket size increases by 26%. And this is thanks to upselling and cross-selling. And then on top of that, if you introduce smart upselling and cross-selling, thanks to special algorithms that can be programmed in the system, you can even achieve higher ticket size increases. And last but not least, offering an integrated loyalty program can enable you to increase the repeat visits by up to 30%. So by offering rewards, by offering coupons, by offering promotions, you enable your clients and you ensure that they are actually going to come back more frequently to your restaurant. So what does strengthening your leadership in digital look like? The first point is you want to be where your customers are. So you really want to offer a frictionless omni-channel digital ordering experience. So most of your clients are on their personal devices. So you want to provide them with a native app or with a web application that allows them to order from wherever they are. But other clients maybe prefer to come to your store and order via kiosk or a POS system. So you really want to ensure that you have a seamless experience regardless of what order channel your client chooses to use. The second recipe for success based on our experience is actually getting to know your customers. So you're only able to really get to know your customers if you have ownership of the data and if you're able to collect the data from all the different channels. And this is only possible via an omni-channel order experience. You also want to increase your loyalty, right? So from a marketing perspective, there is a cost associated to acquiring a new client. But if you actually use your existing clients and make them come more frequently, that has a big benefit because you don't actually have to invest as much in marketing activities. So offering a loyalty program actually increases the repeat usage, as we've seen before from data that has been published. It's up to 30%. And also very important, especially nowadays, is delivery. We hear a lot about delivery. So you want to ensure that you sign up on all the important delivery aggregators in your area, but not only. So you also want to make sure that you offer a platform for selling delivery directly. So it's okay if you mention on your website, yeah, go and visit this external delivery aggregator to order delivery, but it's even more powerful if you offer that tool yourself, because that enables you to actually own the relationship with your clients. So that's a big part of the puzzle as well. And ultimately, all of this is aimed at really helping you be more successful and helping you in building stronger relationships with your clients. So thanks to the omni-channel ecosystem, you're collecting a lot of data, and you can use that data for personalized marketing campaigns. And not only, an omni-channel ecosystem also enables you to create a two-way feedback stream. So you are able to allow your guests also to interact with you. So they can submit feedback on their order, they can submit feedback on their overall experience in your store. So you can analyze that data and also get back to them. So before we move into the dialogue, I just wanted to show you an example of an ecosystem architecture, just so that you're a bit more familiar with how that could work. So it starts really by having an e-commerce platform with all the different order channels. Then you have all the different order types. You have a content management system where this data is managed, and you also have your own UI and UX. So everything that is displayed on your kiosk, on your web app, and on your native app is in your look and feel. Then you have the ordering engine, the loyalty integrated, the engagement integrated. You have analytics, you have delivery, you have dispatching. You also have a marketing website that you can power from the same ecosystem and the same provider. And also very importantly, what the omni-channel ecosystem can offer you if you select the correct partner is basically integration with external channels. So it means that the menu that is displayed on these external channels is managed by the same backend. Same applies for payment integrations and POS systems. So I hope that helped a little bit to set the scene. I really look forward to the discussion. And if you have a personal need that you would like to discuss with us offline, feel free to contact us at any time.
Wow, that was a lot of information. So thank you very much, Carolina. I forgot to mention at the outset, if you have any questions, please just type them into the Q&A section, and we'll try to get to those at the end of the conversation. So trying to just absorb all of that, I think we'd like to just start with just a simple definition of the term omnichannel, just so that everybody has that basis point from where we're starting. Karl, would you be able to help us with that?
Yeah, pleasure. I mean, omni really has different meanings, and the meaning that we mean it, it is actually something that is unified or homogeneous. You could also call it this way. And by having all those, which used to be isolated solution coming into one system, you can make sure that you get the same information on every channel you choose to collect. And of course, what is important, because the ultimate goal of Omnichannel is to personalize the order data so you can then re-engage your customers and get them to come back more often and to spend more. But this is very important to have it in one system, to have a homogeneous user flow, to have one single user account across all those channels, to collect that data, which then helps you to reach back out. And there is some secondary benefits, of course, which is you have a unified user flow. So your guests don't need to get trained on, in terms of the UX, UI, it's really important that they find the same information on all the channels all the time. And that's why we call it omnichannel. But the ultimate goal you have by introducing an omnichannel solution really is to build that customer relationship.
Thank you. So it seems to me that the restaurant selling experience is moving into the digital world. So does that mean that the importance of physical restaurant facilities is diminishing? And is that an effect of COVID, or is that just a natural evolution of the industry? I'm going to start with you, Rod.
Yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit. So, you know, there hasn't been a shift in change for a long time until COVID hit. And I think it really made restaurants look at their whole situation. You know, what do we do for in-room dining, drive-through, and so on? And I think restaurants, unfortunately, were forced, but I think a lot of them are finding out it was for the good to really, you know, slim down that in-room dining and really grab their drive-throughs and make those the best they can be and give them the best customer experience, as if they were in dining. You have to have that same customer experience because people want to know that, hey, your restaurant's still open, you're still doing things the way you did when I sat down in your restaurant, the food's still hot. So the addition of takeout and delivery, I mean, for some restaurants who never thought they would be part of that, you know, especially some of the fine dining restaurants, all of a sudden they had to get into boy, we're going to have curbside delivery here. That's totally new for us. And how are we going to do that? So, you know, I mean, we have a couple pizza restaurants around here that there's like 40 spaces in their parking lot now that are just for curbside pickup. I mean, you've never seen a shift like this before. And, you know, they're finding out that, you know, they're able to, you know, keep their dollar revenue up as if they were doing in-person dining.
So does this shift mean a shift in dollars or in, I guess, in money invested from the physical facilities into digital assets? Anybody want to take that one? Laura, you want to take that one?
Yeah, people are looking at their bottom line and figuring now that they don't have as much dine-in service, they can cut costs in one area for staffing and shift that to another area, such as digital technology, drive-through pickup, delivery, things like that. So a couple of people that I've talked to have noticed that their profit margins have actually increased since they closed some of the in-dining and focused their attention elsewhere.
Karl or Carolina, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, there's so many new touch points coming our way. I think what we're dealing with, apart from COVID, which certainly accelerated a lot of things, but what we're dealing with really is a mega trend of which is driven by demographics, a new generation having completely different needs, completely different behaviors, completely different brand loyalty behaviors, and they're looking for choice. They don't have the reflexes like my generation may have had of let's go out and dine in a restaurant. They're saying let's go and order something and do something at home or do something somewhere else. But it's really about this choice that we provide to those new future customers. And one other thing is that the diversity and the number of ordering channels is just increasing so fast. I mean, we first only spoke about delivery platforms. Now we're speaking about all these white label direct channels where restaurants have the ability to bring back control over their sales again and reduce the fees that they have to pay away to a third party. At the same time, Google ordering is coming in, facilitating that process, which in turn requires dispatching with a variety of different fulfillment services. And now we're even talking about social and conversational ordering through WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Facebook Messengers, Instagram. So this is, I think, the beauty of this world. And as Laura said, it has great opportunities for restaurants, even in a difficult time we're all going through with the COVID-19 crisis.
Well, you know, and with that choice that the customer is looking for, you know, that's been out there forever. But restaurants just didn't want to push that avenue, or maybe they didn't have the funds in a certain bucket that they needed to have those funds into. And now all of a sudden, the choice for the customer became a mandatory thing they had to look at and really decide, are we gonna make it or not? And if we are, what do we need to do to get to that point?
The one thing that stuck out in the presentation that you gave, Carolina, that really impacted me was when you talked about owning the data. And when you tie that together with, you know, the traditional way that people would visit restaurants, they would just be driving down the road and see it. There's no connection, but why did this person make the decision to stop here today? And what did they order, and who are they, and what's their age group? And then with, you know, the aggregators, DoorDash and Uber Eats and all that, they own that data and you don't. And I think there's power in, as a marketer, there's certainly power in knowing, in owning that data. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, owning and managing customer data is, of course, really crucial, as you mentioned. And actually, unfortunately, restaurants is really one of the last business sectors who really started to understand the importance that this has. So this shift has kind of forced them to really embrace digital in a much quicker way. So yeah, I mean, the power of personalized communication, right? If you want to offer a coupon to your client, it's going to be much more well accepted if it's actually linked to their order pattern. So if I'm always ordering the vegetarian menu with you as a brand, it doesn't really help me if I receive a coupon for a meat dish, right? So all of that enables you to have a much more powerful relationship to the clients. It also enables you to take much better decisions as a business, because you can easily analyze, okay, what dishes have been sold the most, what coupons have worked best, which coupons have worked the least. So it really helps you to make better decisions as a business, but it also helps you to better understand your clients and better tailor your service to what your clients really want.
So are there any other data points besides those that restaurants should really be paying attention to?
Well,
Anybody want that one?
I can maybe start with the answer. The one thing that really comes to my mind is the operational efficiency. I mean, Carolina was alluding to it, but if you have a fully integrated end-to-end digital solution, there's just so much information you can extract from enhancing your operational efficiency. You can, all of a sudden, it becomes a very transparent operation in the sense of how fast do I turn out my food? How fast do I deliver? You can have all these reports on comparisons. I mean, there's, for the good or bad, I mean, but there's just so much data you get on your own business you never had before, next to the customer data. But, you know, we're finding every day, we're finding new ways of analyzing data and turn things around and help companies to get a better understanding of the operations too.
So is it a little bit overwhelming? I mean, a small operation, smaller restaurants are generally run by a small group of people. Even if you're part of a chain, they're usually pretty lean operations. How do you keep control or not get overwhelmed by the amount of information that's being thrown at you?
Yeah, so this is where also technology comes in to support, because it's not just delivering restaurants with a bunch of data that they don't know what to do with. So there are algorithms behind and CRM platforms that actually help you use that data in effective ways. So for instance, if you have a feedback tool that is enabled, with just a couple of clicks, you can go into the backend system and pull a report of all the feedback that you received last week. You can see the statistics, you can pull it out in an Excel, and you can compare, okay, was the feedback in this restaurant that I owned better than in this other restaurant? So if it's lower in this restaurant for more than 1 week, maybe I need to look into the operations of that restaurant. Is the food quality lower? So you really have dashboards that enable you to digest the data very quickly, because it's pointless to have data that you need to spend tons of time in analyzing. And as you said, Jean, especially for smaller businesses, you don't have all that many people, right, that you can fully dedicate to data analysis. So selecting the right partner that enables you to have those platforms and those tools that can allow you to take very quick decisions that really have a big impact on your business. This is really, really key. So
you mentioned earlier that there's a large increase, or a notable increase, in the amount of repeat business. Is that repeat business for lack of a better way to say it, are they retrieving their meal in the same way as they did before? In other words, obviously in-store dining is very slim at this moment, but are they using takeout aggregators? Are they using the drive-through, or has that changed?
Absolutely. I mean, as Rod was mentioning before, there's like a boom in drive-throughs and curbside pickups in takeout areas. There's a boom in delivery. And I think what is really important for restaurants is not to fully rely on delivery aggregators. So of course, those are great marketing tools to enable you to access clients that you would otherwise not access. But you really want to ensure that you want to have a direct sales channel, especially for the delivery. So obviously for the drive-through, people come to you. But when it comes to delivery, do make sure that you offer a direct sales channel for that, so that you gain ownership of that relationship as well, and not just rely on third-party aggregators. It's good to have a good mix.
But you know, even for the small percentage of in dining that's happened now, and it's, you know, opening up a little more here and there, and so many restaurants have switched away from hand menus, and all the QR codes and digital codes are coming back. you know, I was at a restaurant the other day and actually sat down. Wow, you know, sat down at a restaurant. That was kind of a real interesting thing again. But I scanned a digital code, and I was there before, you know, probably second or third time I've been there since COVID. And all of a sudden it popped up on my phone. Hey, last time you were here, you ordered this. Would you like it again? Wow. Well, you know who I am. So, you know, it is real interesting, the whole keeper of the data, knowing who you are. And, you know, there's ways to, you know, help that out, speed things up. And, you know, even through the drive-through and, you know, pre-ordering, you know, having lanes that bypass the drive-through lane so you can just go pick up and, you know, do all that. I mean, it's many different avenues today.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Rod and Laura, what you've seen as far as the changes in the technology, since, you know, our principal business is drive-throughs, is making drive-throughs. What kind of change in technology has become noticeable in the last couple of months?
I noticed with some of the customers that I've been talking to, you know, more of the larger chains, you know, we've been talking a lot of digital. So the static menus kind of want to be replaced now by digital menu boards because there's so many things that they can do with them, you know, to be able to give that customer the experience they're looking for. And with the LTOs and promos and, you know, having, you know, the whole metrics of, you know, when you drive through, your phone's kind of pinging the system, and boy, a different LTO may show up because, you know, Eugene come through versus, you know, me coming through, you know. So there's a lot of different avenues that are changing there. Kiosks at one time, you know, 2-3 years ago were being talked about, then they kind of died down again. Now all of a sudden kiosks are big ask for again. So it's another one of those avenues where, you know, they want to give customers that additional avenue to, without coming to the counter, to be able to place their own order if they are coming inside. But the whole drive-through, give the customer experience the same way as if they were coming inside.
Mm-hmm.
So is off-premise selling, I guess you would call it that, is it a fad, or is this something that's going to be with us forever?
Much more than it used to be. Again, we believe the COVID crisis just accelerated the inevitable. So yeah, this new generation, they're not necessarily looking to go dining out somewhere unless it's a very special event. But for the casual days, they prefer to order from just wherever they are, and whenever they want it to be. But there's no set hour, and it all has to be very flexible. And that's why the whole digitization in restaurant technology ordering is really, by definition, a multi-channel approach. Whatever is closest, whatever is most convenient, whatever just works at a given time. So in order to really embrace and make sure that you get the most out of your business and you don't lose any customers, or you don't miss any sales, you can't really avoid of having every channel out there that is possible. And that's the approach we have taken as a company, realizing that, you know, what happened in other sectors to some extent, or to a large extent already, like retail, that you just have to combine all the channels into one system. Otherwise, it's becoming an operational nightmare. You can't, as you have often today, that you have to feed different delivery aggregators from different backends, or you're not even allowed to do it by yourself. I mean, we enable that, so you can feed any delivery channel and your own channels, Google Food Ordering, whatever is out there, from the same backend, and you get all the data back. And then you can match the data again to reach back out to the customer and hopefully bring them back onto your direct channel, because that's what your ultimate goal should be.
Yeah.
But because there's so much choice, you can't avoid having all of them.
And it's getting more competitive now that restaurants that weren't offering takeout or carry out or curbside delivery are now offering that. So it's extremely important to understand what's motivating your customer to buy and how they're buying. So having all this information from all these different avenues and streams and being able to connect with your customer in a way is going to be more important now than it has been in the past with more competition on the market.
And I have a family member that works at one of the big cellular places. And he said too, he goes, it's amazing, especially like the 60 and older generation are actually coming in and, hey, I need a smartphone like everybody else has because I want to order from my phone as well. And, you know, my grandkids and everybody will teach me how to do this. And he said the sales from that sector of the market has just increased tenfold because, you know, they used to just use their phone for calling. Now they realize, man, this is my lifeline right here now to get all the food I want delivered, takeout, delivery, and pre-order and pay.
Yeah, it's just like in the traveling industry. Even my dad had to learn it.
I think, you know, I think you might call it the Amazon effect. I guess in the business that we know very well, the drive-through restaurants, the impulse buy is as you drive down the street, you see a restaurant with a drive-through, you know, a coffee shop that has a drive-through, and you'll stop in. But you have to be driving down that street in order to see it. So the impulse opportunities are minimal if you're not in the proximity of a restaurant. And Laura, I think, could you speak to the, you know, the choices that people make as far as, do I want to go into the restaurant or do I want to go through a drive-through? That used to be the choice. Is it, you know, my convenience is to park my car, get out of my car, get my kids out of the car, go into the restaurant, or to go through the drive-through. And I think it was a competitive advantage in the past to have a drive-through. And now that seems to be shifting to having these digital assets.
It is, and it also is reflective of the brand that you want to present as well. So when you think drive-through, you think big name fast food chains. You don't think local mom and pop restaurants that can offer quick, fast, healthy food through the drive-through themselves, where you used to go and dine in regularly. Now you have the option of drive-through. So people's options are expanding, and I think it's interesting to see. And as a mom of three myself, like, I'm a huge drive-through fan because I can go ahead and everybody gets what they want, and you know. And I do, and some of the bigger chains that already have loyalty programs, I do get messages and emails that are directed towards me because of buying patterns. But I think it's not going to go away for sure. And I think people in their busy lives and how they're thinking of what they want to feed their families and themselves, there's more options out there. And I think it's going to stay where you see a lot more pickup. Curbside and drive-through. But again, I think it really is based on how things are set up. And we're happy to help you take a look at what you've got for setup now in terms of curbside spacing, drive-through spacing. We can help analyze and do what's best for your restaurant in terms of that as well.
And certainly, I think it's necessary to keep in mind the pickup and the aggregators. How does a physical structure of a restaurant now account for those? You know, like you said, Rod, the pizza places that have a whole bunch of parking slots for pickup people. That's going to be a completely different evolution to what a restaurant space looks like, I think.
Right. It's an ever-changing space out there right now until whatever we're going to call normal comes back.
Right.
Yeah. Some people say that curbside is the new drive-through, or some people call it car side as well, because I mean, there is digital solutions out there for drive-through, but there's no real consensus at this moment. So because you may order digitally, but then you may still end up in a line unless there's a separate mobile drive-through area. And so that's why a lot of people order curbside these days, and that's when you end up with 40 parking lots of places to bring the order to. Yeah, it's very exciting, and some of the tracking location services help us to really make sure that the order is always on time, just in time, and always fresh and hot by the time they're delivered to the customer.
One more question that occurs to me, and then there's a question that I want to offer from the audience. Where does human interaction play into this? It's one thing to get all this great information from data, but how do you tie that back to that, making that personal connection with the people that you're buying from or selling to?
Right now, we're told to avoid them, so that's why. And I hope we get back to a stage where we can have those human interactions again. And I think everybody's hoping that, even the younger generation who do not tend to have, I mean, they're communicating more than we ever did, I think, just with in a different way, a lot more digitally. So, but they have very strong personal relationships too. It's not that they would want to avoid it. But yeah, I think it all depends on how the COVID crisis continues to evolve. But I think at the moment, everybody is just focused on contactless. And that's where all the technologies also focus on.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and Jean, maybe also to add to that, I mean, in fact, what technology offers is a tool to really enable restaurants to have more interactions. So should we get to that stage, hopefully very soon, where we can start interacting more with our clients, technology basically eliminates all the operational tasks that staff were busy doing, the kind of operational tasks that don't necessarily add a value, right? So if I tell you I want a burger and you type in burger, it's not an interaction, right? It's just you executing what I'm asking you with actually a margin of error, because there's a lot of studies that show how much error actually occurs with, call centers taking in orders on behalf of people because they don't understand the accent, etc. So restaurants can finally afford assigning staff to what really adds value, which is actually looking into someone's eyes and saying, how are you doing? Are you enjoying your meal? This is all things that, especially in the quick service restaurant segment, where margins are low and restaurants had to be very cautious in how they actually utilize their staff. Now, finally, thanks to technology, a shift towards more personal interaction can happen if that's needed, without worrying too much about the costs.
Okay. Well, we have a question here asking, do you have any customers that are using your service that you'd like to tell us about?
Yes.
Any name dropping you can do?
Sure. Yeah, we have, we're working with RBI on a global basis. That includes Burger King, Popeyes, Tim Hortons. So we're certified by both RBI and the Yum Group. And of course, we have a ton of mid-sized customers, which you may not necessarily be familiar with.
Okay.
So for example, we have the European Sweet Green as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long would it take to get a system like this up and running from start to finish?
That depends on the integrations we need to build. We have a lot of gateways, so meanwhile, it's a very efficient process, but still, depending on the support from the counterparty, POS integration or payment delivery integration takes anywhere between 2 to 8 weeks, depending on the quality of the API and, again, the support. But usually we can implement most restaurant chains within 4 to 8 weeks.
Well, okay. And that includes their own branding, of course, I assume.
Yes, of course. We have a brand builder. I mean, We just worked on a customization center, so there's a lot of customization options that our customers can do by themselves.
Okay.
And also manage all the strings, the languages, and everything. So it's really a system for self-use.
Okay, good. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up. Does anybody have any final comments for our audience?
I'll just stay safe out there.
Stay safe out there. Yes.
They say.
Well, thank you all for joining. Thank you to our panelists for your words of wisdom. And on behalf of the Howard Company and Menu Technologies, we look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.